Getting out of your comfort zone is extremely important if you want to level up in life. But how can we distinguish the anxious feelings or the fear that comes with stepping outside of our comfort zone versus feeling an intuition that something is not right? Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel where we talk all about personal development, self-improvement, self-help, basically anything that we need to know in order to level up. Today I want to talk about stepping out of your comfort zone. So I think it's a pretty common fact that stepping outside of your comfort zone is just like a stepping stone towards growth. Like, think of your comfort zone as just like this blanket, warm blanket, fresh out of the dryer, and it just feels so good to be wrapped around in that warm blanket. But if you never venture out into like the outside world, if you never go outside of your covers, you are missing out on experiences, growth opportunities, spending time with family, basically like your existence. And the same thing happens when we just refuse to leave our comfort zone. If we never venture out our little bubble, let's say if we never do something different, we just stick to a routine or just stick to what we know how to do, we will never grow. We will never achieve remarkable things. And that's because every time you push beyond those familiar boundaries, you learn more about yourself. You discover strengths that you maybe didn't know that you had, and you build resilience when you fail. Growth does not happen in the safety of your own comfort zone. It happens when you take that leap past your little bubble. No accomplishment that I'm proud of, hobby that I've picked up, goal that I've hit, or experience worth remembering would have been possible without me pushing past my level of comfort. Even just like starting this YouTube channel, I wasn't good at editing. I didn't know how to speak to a camera. I didn't know what to use to film. Like, I literally didn't know anything. It was so beyond my comfort zone, but I knew that if I wanted to become a content creator, I would have to step out of my comfort zone eventually. Same thing when I lost weight. I knew that I had to feel uncomfortable at first, right? Like, you're going to be in a calorie deficit. You have to learn about nutrition. You have to learn about exercising. Like, it's gonna feel so uncomfortable, but I knew that if I wanted to lose weight, I would have to push past that level of discomfort. When I started going to the gym, I wanted to build muscle. I wanted to, like have like a built physique, but it was uncomfortable for me to be on the gym floor. I felt like people were looking at me. I felt awkward. I just didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't know anything about fitness. But in order to, get to where I am now, where I've made immense progress in the gym, where I go to the gym every single week, multiple times a week, where I've been going for 5 years, where I have my nutrition on track, where I know a lot of things. Like, I feel like I know so much about fitness. I had to, in order to get to this point, like, I had to push past that level of discomfort, that version of myself that was so uncomfortable with being at the gym, where I felt like people were staring at me, I felt like people were judging me. Any accomplishment, like, you are going to feel a sort of discomfort at first. When I started going to college, yeah, it was hard. I had to study, I had to do all these things that I was like, oh, this is so uncomfortable. But if I knew that if I wanted my degree, well, I would have to just keep showing up despite feeling uncomfortable. So think about what lies in the outskirts of your level of comfort that you one day hope to achieve or hope to do. Is it like skydiving? Is it traveling, solo traveling? Is it cooking? Is it going to the gym? Is it losing weight? Acknowledge that these things feel uncomfortable to pursue, but pursue them anyways, because you deserve to achieve the things that you want to achieve. It's as simple as that. Do not let the unfamiliarity or the discomfort or the fear of failing stop you from pursuing those things. And now let's talk about the inevitable fear that you face when stepping outside of your comfort zone, because it is completely normal to feel fear when you finally push past that level of familiarity. Fear is your brain's way of protecting yourself, especially protecting yourself from the unknown. Look at the feelings of fear that stem when you are doing something outside of your comfort zone as a signal of growth, a signal that you are about to embark on this completely new journey. And even though it feels a little bit daunting, also acknowledge the feelings of excitement and curiosity that likely are going to come with that feeling of fear. Acknowledging those more positive emotions can help you embrace the feelings of fear, and that can turn the fear into something empowering, because it means that you're challenging yourself and pushing your boundaries. It is a sign of growth. But then there's this like uncertainty too, because it's like, well, how do I know that fear is just me going past my comfort zone? And how do I know when it turns into like a intuition that is telling me to stop, that is trying to protect me? Like, let's say a sign from the universe. How can I differentiate between the two? From my personal experience, I think that anytime you are going to push past your comfort zone, you're going to feel fear, and you are going to feel these emotions because you're kind of just trying to like protect yourself from like what could go wrong. For example, I was always scared of getting into a relationship because I saw all of the relationships like around me. My parents, my uncles and my aunts, like my cousins, they were just like not the best examples. I think they were a little bit toxic, or a lot of bit toxic. Some of them were abusive, and so I was just always so scared of getting like trapped into a relationship. When I met my ex, this was like the first person where I was like, okay, like what if I do try to like take this seriously? Because I had dated around, but it was never like anything serious. Like I made it very clear, like, oh, I'm not here for like a long time. I'm not here for something serious. I'm not here to like build with you. Like I just want to hang out with you. So when I met my ex, I noticed that, like he was a very good person, and it seemed like he was genuine. He ticked off a lot of like boxes for me, and he was kind of just like, hey, I like you. I understand if you don't want to pursue something serious, but unfortunately like I do, and if you don't, then we have to cut things off. And that's when I had to make a decision. Well, I was like, okay, well, either we cut things off, or I step outside of my comfort zone and I try getting into like a relationship. And I chose to just take a leap of faith, basically. Yes, I was scared of how it would end, of how I would end up, like if I would be sad, if we broke up, or if I would be stuck in a toxic relationship. I just chose to take that leap of faith and just, I was scared, but I was just like, I think it's very important for me to get into a relationship at least once in my life, so let me just try it out. I had to learn to trust myself enough to be fine with whatever outcome there was, right? If we broke up, I had to be like, I trust you enough to get back on your feet. Yeah, breakups suck. Yeah, breakups are hard, but I have to trust myself enough to be okay after a breakup. And I had to trust myself that I would leave when things got toxic, when things were no longer working, if things were no longer working out, which spoiler alert, they didn't. They stopped working out. There was still that underlying fear. What if, right? What if I got stuck here? But when we would hang out, or like even just being in that relationship, like it just came with a lot of good feelings. And even though I still had that underlying fear, I had to pay attention to what was actually there. The healthy communication that we had, the healthy conflict resolution, the strong support system that I gained, the genuine love. Like that's what I had to pay attention to, not the fear that was like that I felt in my mind, like behind the scenes. Months later, it was no longer working out for whatever reason, and now I had to pay attention to the facts. We're fighting a lot. We are just screaming, going at each other's necks. I'm not happy. I had to pay attention to that fact, even though now the fear was, am I going to be okay without him? Am I ruining something that could potentially be great later on? What if he was the one that got away? Now these were the underlying fears, but I had to now face the reality, which is that it wasn't working out. So I had to step outside of my comfort zone to get into the relationship, and I had to step outside of my comfort zone to get out of that relationship. So if something starts feeling unsafe, that is like a red flag for me. If I am going skydiving and I'm like, yeah, I'm a little bit scared, I'm a little bit nervous, but you know what? People do this all the time. It's fine. I'm gonna move past my fear and I'm gonna push myself outside of my comfort zone because I want to skydive. But then I get there and the plane looks a little bit janky, the people look a little bit unprofessional, like it's just like, damn, like I don't know if I want to skydive here. Well, I'm gonna take that as like a sign for me to get out, because clearly this is an unsafe situation and I'll go skydive somewhere else. My other red flag, pertaining back to the example with my ex, if something feels draining, is making you just constantly sad or stressed, that is when I take that as a red flag. That is when I kind of try to see, hey, maybe this isn't actually working out. Maybe this isn't actually meant for me. But something that I do is like I make sure to give it a shot. You know, like I gave that relationship a shot despite the fact that I was so scared of getting myself into a relationship. If I'm gonna go skydiving, well, I'll give it a shot and I'll find a place that feels safe despite me being scared of skydiving. And that is how I differentiate between my intuition versus just the regular old fear that comes with stepping outside of your comfort zone. I think the feeling of fear is always going to be present because you're stepping into like an unknown world. You don't know the outcome of things. It's natural to be scared, but do not let that fear completely stop you, completely halt you, freeze you to, you know, staying stuck and being the person that you are today and only being that person and never being able to grow past it or get to the next level. But also, once you've at least gave it a shot, pay attention to your feelings. Is this still feeling exciting? Is this still feeling prosperous? Is this still feeling healthy? Or is this causing a lot of negative reactions? You know, am I being too stressed right now? Have I been stressed for a prolonged period of time? Have I been unhappy for a prolonged period of time? And that is what's going to help you see what is actually meant for you. But you can never get to that decision-making point if you never even try. And that was all that I had for you guys today. So I hope that I was clear. That's kind of what I've learned about stepping outside of your comfort zone. I didn't just want to say, yes, step outside of your comfort zone. You have to. It's where the growth happens, because I think that we all already know that. I wanted more so to kind of explain how I differentiate between when I am still on the right path and where, you know, I tried it and now I know that it's like not the right path for me. If you enjoyed this video though, don't forget to like and share it with a friend. Maybe comment down below any tips you have for like when you realize, hey, you know what, something is not working out for me, or when it's just like, hey, you know what, I'm scared, but I'm still gonna go for it. I'm still gonna keep going for it. And don't forget to subscribe if you would like to see more content like this, because I do post a lot of like personal development, self-help, growth content, so that we could like embark on a leveling up journey together, because that's all that I really want to do, is just help us level up together. And until next time, bye.